everyone, welcome to another Animation Friday. I will be doing this video today because I am not going to be available on Friday. I don't know if Saturdays and Sundays video will be delayed, but I am just giving you a heads up that they might be. But I will be sure to catch up and do all the videos. It's just that there might be a delay for Saturdays and Sundays. But I'm getting Fridays out of the way because I know that I won't have time on Friday. So without further ado, let me discuss my favorite Pixar short films, or Pixar shorts, I guess you could call them. These shorts are very interesting because they largely in part occur before the Pixar film starts. I remember this within the 90s when I was young, that they would have a short before they would show you the actual full-length feature Pixar film. And these shorts kind of stuck with me throughout the years, and I thought it would be interesting to discuss the ones that were my personal favorites and the ones that I enjoyed the most watching. So without further ado, let me address the first one, and that is Geri's Game. And this plays before the Pixar film A Bug's Life. And this one in particular is one I remember fairly clearly, because I think I did watch Pixar's A Bug's Life for, I think, a extended amount of time when I was young, or I came around the right age. It came out at the right time for me as far as age was concerned. And this short to me is the one that really stood out as being one of my personal favorites. Basically, this short revolves around this really adorable old skinny man. And basically, he ends up playing chess with himself. So basically, he sets up the whole chess thing and chess set in this nice little park. And he just starts playing with himself. Like he'll put the pieces on one that are on one side of the board, he'll move them, and then he'll get out of his chair and then walk slowly to the other side and take the other side and put it somewhere. And it's interesting because the short actually goes, it actually gets kind of a little odd because you sort of see him going back and forth more quickly. And in doing so, they make it appear like it's two people that are playing, even though it's not. And it has this very goofy but funny nature to it. And I just really love the old man's expressions, and I just like how, even though it's so simple, it still holds this kind of interesting way of approaching a short, by just having it be just about somebody playing chess with themselves. Because I think that's somewhat identifiable, the sense of, kind of loneliness and, you just doing something on your own, even though that really requires two people, because you have no one else to play with. It's almost like there's almost like humor into that kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily misery, but at the same time, it's funny because you kind of know that that's oftentimes what happens with an older age. So it's just very cute and simple, and I like the idea of how he kind of makes it a rivalry between himself. And he just gets all stressed out over it. And that's what's, I think, what ultimately makes this one so enjoyable. And and I think that's really ultimately though all I can say about it. It's very simple, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable, and it's really one of the standouts because I really do remember the old man playing chess. Um, and I think that's usually fairly common among the older generation to play these kinds of older style games too. And you often see that in the parks where, they'll be playing, chess or something. So it displays something typical, but at the same time, it does it in a way that's unique and interesting. But I think that's really ultimately all I can say about that one. But moving on now to another short called Lifted, and this plays before Ratatouille, or the Pixar film Ratatouille. Um, Basically, this short involves an alien abduction, and almost like a training seminar for alien abduction, or sort of like an alien abduction test, because what ends up happening is that you have this very kind of small, uh, skinny alien, and then you have this really big, bulky, big alien, and the little alien is trying to abduct this human, and you'll just see how he fails at trying to abduct this human on a tremendously funny level. And at the same time, the big bulky alien is like looking over his shoulder like, okay. And there's all these bazillion jillion buttons too, and the little alien is completely clueless on what button to press and all that. So and it looks like he's being tested though, because the big alien is like taking down notes and stuff. And at one point, the little alien almost asks for a hint because he has like no idea what to do. And this ends up being fairly funny because you see what's kind of happening to the human, and and the human is completely unaware because he's asleep the entire time. But at the same time, it's pretty funny into how how the little alien's just incapable of abducting this person. um and uh yeah, that's really ultimately the short within itself. Although the little alien is not necessarily as good at doing the kinds of technical things that are involved with the spaceship, um, the big alien, kind of tries to give him a little bit of uh, uh, a little bit of responsibility at the end, even though it really doesn't turn out too beneficial. Um, but again, that's what makes it all the more funny and all the more, I think, cute. And I think a lot of kids can kind of identify with this, like, trying to do something right and constantly messing up. I think that's definitely something um, that they can see themselves in, like they could see themselves being that little alien not knowing what to do. Um, so yeah, I think that's really though ultimately all I can say about this short. It's pretty straightforward, but at the same time, I really don't want to give away too much what happens because that would be spoiling it for everybody. Third one that I wanted to briefly address is before the film Up, and that is Partly Cloudy. Kind of ironic how Up isn't really one of my favorite um, Pixar films, but the short that plays before it is one of my favorite shorts. Um, this one's rather interesting because it actually has kind of a complete plot structure. Because basically, they sort of have an introduction where they set up that there is this world where storks actually do deliver babies. And not only do they deliver babies, they deliver puppies and uh, kittens and all different kinds of animals. And they're all these babies and all these small animals, basically baby animals, are created by clouds. So that's also a very cute idea. And basically, the clouds put them in a little bundle, and then the stork takes them away to their designated uh, owners. And there's this one cloud who's actually a rain cloud because he's gray and all of the other clouds are basically white or pinkish. And the animals that he makes are kind of ruthless, to say the least. And the stork has a little bit of a challenge or the stork that's supposed to deliver his creations is a little bit discouraged by them because they end up, causing a lot of problems for him. And so eventually you'll see how there's kind of a semi-conflict there, because the stork sees all these other clouds and how they have these very pleasant animals to deal with, and he's like, oh, I have to deliver this cloud's creations, why? And so he basically kind of abandons the rain cloud at one point, which creates sort of a conflict. And then there's an eventual resolution, and I won't give away the resolution, but again, it kind of has this structure. It establishes a sort of a universe and how it functions, and it gives characters and sort of a friendship between the stork and the rain cloud, and so there is a lot more going on, I feel, in this short, and it's told within such a brief amount of time. And it really, really works, and I think it's very creative, and there's a lot of cuteness to it, and there's a lot of genuinely funny moments as well. So I think it's definitely worth a recommendation if you are interested. Second to last one that I wanted to mention is Knick Knack. This one appears before the Finding Nemo film. And basically it is about a snowman who lives in a snow globe. And this snowman is already 10 times better than Olaf because he actually goes after his dream. Like he actually goes out and tries to achieve it. Olaf just sings a song about it, and then basically Elsa gives him his dream at the end. But no, this snowman works for it. So already 10 times better character. So basically, this snowman in this snow globe wants to go outside because there's a pretty lady outside. And there's all these trees, and there's a flamingo. And he's like, oh, I want to go outside. And so he tries the whole time throughout the shore trying to get out of his snow globe. And does he succeed? Well, I'm not going to give away the answer, but what I really like is that he tries. And you see the determination on his face, and just after every strategy he tries and it doesn't work, you see him try another one, and it's great. It's engaging and it's funny to watch. And there's a little bit of character that comes out of him because you see sort of his emotions, and when he's happy and when he's discouraged or when he's really angry. So it's great. There's a lot of creativity, and there's a lot of emotion behind the character. So that's what makes this short, I think, in particular, fairly entertaining to watch. Yeah, I think that's though really ultimately all I can say about this short. Even though it has, again, that kind of, sort of misery element that we see in some of these other shorts, it still plays itself off fairly effectively. And there's a lot of cuteness to it that you kind of think that a lot of kids would identify with, this idea of, trying to do something but not being good at it or not being able to do it. So yeah, I think that's something that's very enjoyable about this short. But I think that's really ultimately all I can say about it. Excuse me. Last one that I wanted to mention is actually one that I think a lot of people associate with because it actually has sort of the Pixar, or at least part of the Pixar logo inserted in it. If you ever see Pixar's logo, they'll usually have the lamp as the eye. And Luxo Jr. is basically a mini version of the big Pixar lamp. So you'll have a big Pixar lamp, and then you have a little Pixar lamp. And I don't know if this is supposed to be mother and son, or father, son, or daughter, father, or whoever. You can't really tell. I'm assuming it's mother, son. I could be wrong though. But basically, what's within this short is very kind of straightforward. Basically, the big lamp gives the little lamp a ball, and he plays a little with the ball, and then something happens to the ball, and then you'll ultimately see what sort of results from the little lamp no longer having the ball. And it's very cute, it's simple, but what I like too, and what I find interesting too, is that when you're watching it, you kind of see the emotion coming out of the lamps, because you'd think that without eyes or without, you know, some kinds of expression, you wouldn't be able to really tell what they're feeling. But you can really just tell by their movements and how they kind of react to things, you know, what they're internally thinking as far as a reaction and an emotional response. And that's, I think, very interesting, and is one that I think makes the short rather unique from a lot of the other shorts that do involve characters that actually have sort of these expressions kind of as part of their character, with having eyes and, you know, lips and even speaking at some points. But here, even though they lack a lot of these physical traits, there's still a lot of reactions that come out of them, and they're drawn, and they're just drawn out so well that and animated so well that you can relate to them, even if they're not necessarily real, or they don't really have a whole lot of expression or personality to them as a result of the fact that they're lamps. But yeah, I think that's really ultimately all I can say about these shorts. I will be sure to put all of them below so that you may view them and enjoy them for yourself. But yeah, I think that's really ultimately all I can say for this Animation Friday. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.